All right, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm gonna tell you something that you really need to hear. You need to start taking some L's, some losses. Yes, yes, yes. Before you come for my neck, hear me out. If you never lost before, you never been tested, you don't know who you really are. And that's, I think, what's missing today in life. A lot of people want the easy wins or they want the overnight success without doing what it takes to build the character to really handle adversity. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're going to talk about today, the power of taking losses. And if you're new to my channel, I'm Alchemy Fitness, aka Tristan Fitness, here where we transfer you from lead to gold. All right. Of course, I got my notes in front of me, so stay tuned for this one. All right, y'all gonna like this. All right. So basically, everybody want to glow up. Everybody want results, but nobody wants the embarrassments, the setbacks, nor the failures. See, that's the part everyone skips. You know what I'm saying? But over here, we don't skip the process; we become it. Um, what taking losses do for someone or for you, it really helps build your character. It's all about character building, how you handle adversity. It's very easy to find out who you are, or it's easy to say that you're this or that when you're winning, when you're on cloud nine. One of my favorite players, or my favorite player, is Michael Jordan, right? And sometimes you hear them talk about the 6-0 in the finals, right? And that is very impressive. I think today they try to make it kind of lightweight, but it's not. It's 2 3-peats. It's not just 6-0 in the finals, it's 2 3-peats, right? But you got to understand the history before that, when he was getting swept in the first round, getting stopped by Detroit, getting beat up. He didn't complain about it or anything like that. What he did, he looked at himself, take the necessary steps to improve and made adjustments. And that's what losses do. That's what losses do for you if you just change your mindset and on your approach to it. And then when he got on top of that mountain, he didn't come off. You see what I'm saying? So you can do that in turn as well. So it's like a mirror, basically. And you just want to take in your losses or what you're doing, you're just gathering more data about yourself. So if you miss the lift, if it's a cheat weekend, you know what I'm saying, and you didn't like what you saw in that moment, that's not a failure, that's information. That's basically what you're doing. You're just gathering more information. Because what it does is it exposes you, right? Whether it's your discipline, your habits, your mindset. And doesn't mean that you're weak. It just means that you just tapping into untapped potential. You know what I mean? Or if your weakness that is there, you can turn it into a strength. So that's what it does. So being exposed is a good thing. So don't think that it's very bad. You know what I'm saying? So this is a dangerous thing when you're winning too much. It reminded me of the scene in The Dark Knight Rises where Batman meets Bane, and Bane is whooping his ass. But in the exchange, he tells him that peace has cost him his strength, and that victory has defeated him. You see what I'm saying? Because he starts to chill. And you see that in Dragon Ball Z too with Gohan. After the Cell series, it's a peaceful time. He's not training as hard. You see what I'm saying? So everything is cool. And that can be more detrimental than good. You see what I'm saying? Because when you win too early, things come to you too easy. You don't build the resilience, you don't build discipline, you start building entitlement. Then when life hits you, you fold. It's like building a foundation on sand. You don't want to do that. You want to build it on a rock. On this rock, I built my church, right? But the one who's taken losses, especially early, the ones who's been humbled, we don't break. You know what I'm saying? We just adjust because we know what it takes because we've been here before and we took the necessary steps and collected the data and studied it to become better. You see what I'm saying? So when you catch a L, don't be crying. Don't be no little bitch and start crying and think people should be sorry for you. Not at all. You know what I mean? We don't cry over losses over here. We study them and we improve and we get better. If you lost consistency, that's good. Find out why. You know what I mean? You skipped the gym, good. What triggered it? It's funny because I talk to clients about all the time. Oh, I fell off. So I say, so what you gonna do next? You fell off and? Oh, well, get back up. Get back on the horse and start riding again. That's all it is. Life's gonna continue to throw curveballs, but you gotta take an inventory of yourself first, because everything begins and ends with you, and find out why you're doing what. And it's funny too because that's real emotional intelligence. People try to separate IQ and EQ, but really you have to harmonize the two. In order to have a healthy IQ, I mean, a healthy EQ, emotional intelligence, you have to have a healthy IQ because everything stems from your intellect. And that's how you govern your emotions. You see what I'm saying? So it says rise above emotions to the thinking of God, right? So that's how one way you do that. But, you got to study, you know what I mean? And learn from your losses and find out why the structure failed or the system you've um, implemented didn't work. So you have to change that. So instead of thinking a loss as a loss, it's a lesson. And when you approach it from that way, you remove your ego in a negative way, in an unhealthy way, to a healthy way, because growth doesn't come from comfort; it comes from correction. You know, pardon me. And no better teacher can teach you that than the gym, in my opinion. This is why I always stress about going to the gym because it builds character. It's transferable principles that comes from the gym that you could take outside in your everyday life, in relationships, business, whatever. You know what I mean? Whether it's a fail rep, you come back stronger. You plateau, you just change your strategy. You fall off track, you build discipline. It's just not a physical aspect, it's really a mental warfare. And that's where it really stems from. So every loss you take in the gym, it prepares you for life outside of it, basically, in a nutshell. You know what I mean? So how do we change our mindset? Become instead of a victim to victorious. Instead of asking ourselves, why is this happening to me? We could start asking ourselves, what is this trying to teach me? It's more so like, when you read scripture, not to get too biblical or anything like that, but it is a lesson in it. Where, Jesus was like, yo, why you pass this cup before me? But he knew, although he asked them why he passed it, he didn't want to take it, but he still took it because on the other side was his ascension, was him to get to where he needed to get to. And you got to look at it like that too. You know what I'm saying? Because once you change that mindset, your losses stop being painful and it becomes powerful. And that's what we all want, right? How could this one man have so much power? That'll be my theme song, by the way. Right? So the next time you take a loss, stand 10 toes down, man. Don't run from it. Don't hide. Don't make excuses. Stand on it. Be the man and woman that you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? And every loss you take, handle it the right way. Because it's not about what you do, it's how you handle things. Disappointment is gonna come, quote unquote failure, hard times, tribulations, but who are you when the goings get tough and the tough gets going? You see what I'm saying? How you handle that. You know what I'm saying? Because in that process, you're building the best version of yourself that can't be stopped. Only if you want to be stopped. You know what I'm saying? But if this message resonates with you, put I embrace the loss in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel when you're ready to stop playing games and level up your mentality. Because over here, we don't avoid struggle. We become it. We become stronger because of it. Pardon me. We become stronger because of it. And like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with someone you think this can resonate also. And if you're down to get some one-on-one coaching, online coaching with me, click the link in the description, whether it's training or nutrition, or training and nutrition. Click the link, see if we can work together and get you over into the best version of yourself, man. Thank you for listening again. This is Alchemy Fitness signing off, where we transfer you from lead to gold. Train hard, train smart, and train safe. Peace.